This regular meeting of the, this work session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, on April 10th, 2018, adequate notice of this work session regular meeting was provided as required by law. We could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation led by Councilman Chase. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, God, indivisible, liberty and justice. You could remain standing for the invocation. Mike?
Offerings of our township. May we abide by the rules we have established, those of trust, fellowship, and ethics. May we place service above self in our daily endeavors. And may we always test ourselves and our efforts to be sure they are the truth, good for all concerned, benefit to mankind. Understanding.
Amen. Madam Master Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Chase.
Here.
Councilwoman Francois.
Here.
Councilman Galtieri.
Here.
Mayor Kramer.
Here.
Councilman Onijaka.
Here.
Councilman Prasad. Deputy Mayor Robinson.
Here.
Councilman Vasanella.
Here.
Councilman Wright.
Okay, thank you, Madam Master Clerk. We're now on to commendations and proclamations. Item number 5 on the agenda. There's copies of agendas up there. And I shall have our Deputy Mayor, Robinson, do the first proclamation.
Good evening. And receiving this proclamation on behalf of the Sikh community is Ardaman Singh. And it reads as, and I will not read it in its entirety. Celebrating Vaisakhi Proclamation, whereas Sikhism is a religion founded in the Punjab region of South Asia over 5 centuries ago and introduced to the United States in the 19th century. And whereas Sikhism is the 5th largest world religion with approximately 25 million adherents from diverse backgrounds throughout the world, including 500,000 adherents in the United States. And whereas the Sikhs in the United States pursue diverse professions and walks of life, making rich contributions to the economic vibrancy of the United States as farmers, engineers, doctors, scientists, business owners, and more. Whereas the Sikh religion is based on a belief in one God and the equality of all human beings, and whereas the celebration of Vaisakhi includes performing seva, selfless service, such as providing free meals to all visitors to Sikh gurdwaras, houses of worship. Now therefore be it proclaimed, Philip Kramer, Mayor of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, on behalf of the Township Council, wish the Sikh American community a joyous Vaisakhi. Signed April 10th, 2018.
Thank you so much. On behalf of the Sikh community in Franklin and New Jersey, I am very grateful for this proclamation, and this is my second home. I have been very fortunate to have so much support in the school as well as in the township, and I really thank the mayor and the council members for recognizing the Sikhs in Franklin Township. Thank you so much.
I'd just like to point out that that's our Vice President of the Board of Ed, and our photographer for this event is the President of the Board of Ed.
Mr. Mayor, I think they should get a front-on picture because they got y'all on the side. So go ahead and take that picture, you know. Yeah, get up there and take that picture.
Councilman Wright, will you make your way down here?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the fun part.
So the next item is the Pop Warner Midget Level Cheer Team, national champions. Come on up. Now, you should have gotten up all exactly at the same time.
Ladies and gentlemen, what I would like to do is introduce you to the midget cheerleaders. Varsity cheerleaders, national champions for 2 years in a row. Now, it takes a lot to be a national champion. It takes a lot of dedication. It takes fun. It takes coming out to practice and practice and practice. It involves learning what you have to do, but more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, we might be happy that they won the national championship, but they also go to school here. There are also scholars here. And that's the one thing we ought to appreciate. There are actually scholars. So let's give it up for the scholarship. Now, they didn't bring all the hardware. That's just one piece of the hardware. And I said, next year when you come, bring all the hardware. Okay, that way they can see just what you're doing here. Now, what I would like to do is read one proclamation. Then the mayor will come up and say something. Then the coach will come up and list everyone as they pick up their certificate. Okay? Commendation. Whereas the Franklin Township Pop Warner Midget Level Cheer Team became the 2017 Midget Program PW1 Pop Warner National Champions in December of 2017 at Disney's ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex in Orlando, Florida. And whereas the team consists of the following members: You come on up at the mic, and here, you read them right there. Just read the names.
Okay. Paula Barrow, Zalia Butts, Zainab Cole, Alicia Collins, Amari Crawford, Joraz Duggar, Malia Fag Daves, Indigo Gilbert, Jody Papa Matos, Demita St. Rose, Jade Stanley, and Serenity Thompson.
Whereas the Township Pop Warner Organization and the Township of Franklin recognize the immeasurable contributions of the chair director, Malia Holman, assistant chair director, Fatima Braxton, and team business manager, April Edwards Thompson, for their unwavering dedication to teaching youth the art and execution of cheering, and for selflessly volunteering endless hours educating them in the value of physical fitness and worthwhile pastimes. Now, therefore, I, Carl Wright, and Mayor Philip Kramer, and the Township Council do hereby thank and congratulate the coaches for their tireless dedication and the members of the Franklin Township Midget Cheer Team for the honor they have bestowed on themselves and their families and community. Done April 10th, 2018. Now, let's hear a cheer. Do something. Come on, let's give them some. They paid for the paper. Come on. now I'd like to bring up our honored mayor.
Thank you. I was hoping you'd do a cheer for me. We are very, very proud of you. This is just another example of how Franklin excels. Sometimes Franklin gets a bad rap, but we've got people who are just out there doing incredible things, national champions, state champions, county champions. It's an amazing town with amazing people, and this village is doing very well in that we are raising each other and raising each other higher. We are learning from people that didn't grow up like us, didn't learn the things that we learned, but we are learning from them. And that is the wonder and splendor of Franklin, and the councilman said it very well. It isn't easy to become a national champion. It's a lot of work, and thank you for doing all that work and making us shine. Thank you.
On behalf of Franklin Township Pop Warner Chair, we just want to say thank you for this commendation. It's been a long haul. The girls do a lot of work, and the parents are there for us. We just want to say thanks again. They had a struggle. We were struggling for spaces to practice. Once they've won the Central Jersey and when they went to regional, it became more difficult for us to find the time and the space to practice. So we're looking for places to practice. If you would like to help us out and you want to donate some space for us, we would really like that because we plan on being national champions again in 2018. We hope to bring our varsity as well as our Pee-wee and junior Pee-wee teams who did not get the chance to go. We plan on having more than one team going to nationals and winning and bringing it back, and I'll see you again next year.
I'd like to do one quick thing, and is that I need to put this on my wall again. I need to put this on my website again. So I need everybody to get real close. Hold the hardware. The hardware. Okay? And then we can get the picture. Come on, Mr. Mayor. Now, remember, I get the middle. Hold that for me. Okay.
So this is Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month. Is there anyone here to, I see somebody, and
Hi. Okay, I'll read the proclamation and then please tell us anything about your group and any news you have. So we're celebrating religions tonight and accomplishments, and I think that's wonderful. It's a little more of a somber acknowledgement, but this is hopefully will inform people who may not be aware of the dreadful disease of Parkinson's, which, as bad as all diseases are, I'm sure you'll be able to speak more than me about it, but is dreadful in so many ways to the people and families that it affects. Whereas Parkinson's disease is a chronic progressive disorder of the nervous system that affects movement for which there is currently no cure. And whereas 1 million people in the United States are currently living with Parkinson's disease, with additional 50 to 60,000 new cases are diagnosed each year, making Parkinson's disease the 14th leading cause of death in the U.S. according to the Centers of Disease Control. Whereas every day the American Parkinson's Disease Association provides the support, education, and research that will help everyone impacted by Parkinson's disease live life to the fullest through research, patient and family services, education, and more. And whereas increased efforts and awareness are desperately needed to help expedite the research efforts into better treatments, medications, and ultimately a cure, as well as enhanced programs and services to help those impacted by Parkinson's disease live life to the fullest until a cure is found. And whereas the world, the nation, and New Jersey observe Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month in April 2018. And whereas Franklin recognizes the efforts of American Parkinson's disease to raise funds and promote awareness to fight Parkinson's disease, thereby improving the quality of life for those living with the disease. Therefore, I, Philip James Fastenal, on behalf of Philip Kramer, Mayor of the Township of Franklin County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, on behalf of the entire Township Council, in recognition of more than 55 years of indispensable services of the American Parkinson's Disease Association, and to the residents of Passaic County. I believe that means Somerset County. I'm just reading what's here. Hereby proclaim April 2018 Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month in the Township of Franklin. I'd like you to speak about it. All I could say is coming from personal experience. My father had Parkinson's for 28 years. Passed away about 17 years ago from complications. And although this says the 14th leading disease, I kind of question that because I know so many people, unfortunately, end up with problems that come from Parkinson's disease. And often, not that it matters, but the cause of death isn't necessarily always refer back to Parkinson's disease. But it is a dreadful disease. And ultimately, unfortunately, unless they find a cure, or until they find a cure, unfortunately, most of us will probably know somebody directly or indirectly, hopefully not your own family, that will get this disease. So please learn more about it. There's not as much focus on this as some of the other unfortunate major diseases out there, but please learn more about it, just like we learn about other religions and the accomplishments and everything else that we shine the spotlight on, because when it comes down to it, it's when people are in their most difficult moments that it's important for others to be aware of their struggles. Thank you.
So my name is Addison, and I am an intern with the American Parkinson's Disease Association, and I'm speaking on behalf of Shalana Williams, who is the coordinator for the New Jersey chapter. And we just wanted to say thank you for allowing us to come out here and bring awareness to this degenerative disease. I don't know how many of you know this, but every 9 minutes someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and every year we're seeing that younger and younger people are being diagnosed. And in 2016, we even saw a 2-year-old be diagnosed in Canada. So it's not a grandparent's disease anymore. We are seeing people be diagnosed younger and younger. So we just want to get the resources and information out in the community so more people know about the disease. And so you know where to go if you or a family member or someone you love is unfortunately diagnosed. So we just want to say thank you, and we just want to bring awareness. And if you have any questions or want any information or resources, the American Parkinson's Disease Association has all of that. So we just want to say thank you.
We'll give it a minute for the room to clear. And if someone leaving can close the doors behind them, because people tend to gather in the hallway. The next item is item number 6, public discussion. Do I have a motion to open for public discussion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of opening for public discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. We are open for public discussion. Before general members of the public come up, I would like to recognize Mayor Mark Conforte of Montgomery, who's here for something very important. Thank you for coming. If you could swing the mic around.
We have the same problem in our meetings, too. Good evening, Mayor Kramer. Good evening, council members. I promise I'll be very brief. I am known for brevity. Speak up. Can't hear me? Okay. I'll get a little closer. My reason for being here is just to provide tangible evidence of our support for the letter that Mayor Kramer has written to the governor in opposition to the Transco compressor station. While the residents of Montgomery are the farthest away from this proposed site, they are still affected by it. And frankly, I have somewhat of a personal note. My son and his family, including my 10-month-old grandchild, happen to live in that zone, so I took a personal interest in this. Although when this started a year ago, that she didn't exist, so I didn't realize I was going to. But in any case, so I just wanted to make sure that you knew that we were strongly behind you on this particular issue. We've contacted all of the appropriate people and some of the folks not on the appropriate list just to express our concerns. Frankly, just one point. It reminds me of one of the frustrating parts of all of our jobs as to how there are a number of both government agencies who love to tell us what to do with our communities, and we sit here in frustration as to not being able to fight back, or at least feel that we're, the frustration of not being able to fight back. So this letter and our support is a tangible evidence that you can't simply ignore us. And so we'll fight this with you right to the end. So, as I said, I promise to be brief, and that's it. So, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So, thank you very much, Mayor. I was going to save this to the council comments, but it's appropriate to say now. So, the mayor of Princeton has signed the letter, and have a document showing that the council voted unanimously for it. We have that from Montgomery, and we'll send the. So we should really thank the mayor for being here. He's got some a family issue at home, and I thought he wasn't going to be coming, but he made that sacrifice to come here. If I had known he was going to be here, I would have brought the letter and he could have signed it here, but we'll get the letter to him and so he can sign it. And then unfortunately, the other mayor that we need to sign it is the South Brunswick mayor, and sadly he has died. And so we'll give them a couple of weeks to get themselves together, and then we will get a signature from them, and then we'll have the 4 mayors together on the letter. We will send it to the state, and we will start asking for some time with the governor, the 4 mayors meeting with the governor to push this very important project. Thank you for taking the time to come out, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak? However, just come on up as the mic opens up.
I don't have anything written. My name's Linda Powell, and I live at 22 Buffer Drive. And I sent everyone who's sitting here an email the other day with a resolution. What happened was I'm on the Advisory Board of Health, and we had discussed, after discussing the ill effects of tobacco smoke for about a half an hour, I started discussing some of the ill effects of the potential ill effects if we had a compressor station in town, and how reviewing some of the concrete health hazards that are known and studied, including a new study that just came out which admitted that, cardiovascular, which means like heart attacks and strokes and death, are one consequence of this small particulate matter that come out of compressor stations. But this new study associated kidney failure also with this particulate matter, and it was a widespread study, which is referenced in there. We already have 4, I think the 5th dialysis, kidney dialysis unit is being built in town. And so they asked me to present this to the council, which is actually the Franklin Township Board of Health, and asked to pass this resolution. And of course, our team, Barbara Cuthbert and Kurt Frost, wrote it. One thing I have to correct in what I put in that email, I said that our township manager had written to FERC twice about this, but today, April 10th, he posted again in FERC, and I assume it was CC to the NJDEP, which had a lot of the same elements, asking again for the health impact assessment. There are pages and pages here of concrete carcinogens, known carcinogens, suspected carcinogens, and documented references. And we really feel that we need to let the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, who does have the ability to hold up some of the permits for this compressor station. One of the other things that I don't think is made very clear often is that when these studies are done, they study one chemical, one toxin, one element that causes health ill effects without really noticing all of them together, and the cumulative effects that they will have on our health. And I know we're concerned about things like smoking and drinking and things like this, but if we want to protect the safety of our environment, because remember this area is also destined to be a water supply after it stops being a quarry somewhere mid-century, and all these toxins are not only going into the air, but will be settling down in the ground as well and affecting the water. We really have to basically get up and explain why we do not feel that what FERC has come forth and said that, oh, this really is just a little project and it really doesn't warrant this type of effects. And there's documentation here that shows that that is not at all the truth. So we're hoping that you will send this into FERC and forward it to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, FERC, of course, being the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. And that's basically what I have to say for today. So thank you very much, Manager Vornlacher, for your submissions.
Well,
Benjamin Guy, 35 Patton Drive. Just got 2 questions. One is for the township manager directly. Because you guys are going to be discussing the budget now, I was going to ask for the things that you release in the budget for the ratables that we go into the tax appropriation for the school board budget and everything else. Is those ratables actually calculated through what you guys release, or is that through another calculation that they do? Because the school board is going through their budget also.
There's only one assessor.
Only one assessor. Okay, so that answers one question. The second thing is, I guess as we had this, town hall meeting about safety in the schools. We're looking at I guess what's going on in the schools, but also we're looking at what's going on outside the schools. As I've been trying to make you guys aware, there's going to be an elongated summer. I still haven't heard a plan of action on exactly what we're doing for the elongated summer with the kids at all, because again, just because you think you isolate an incident in the schools does not mean it's not going to spill out into other situations at all. So I'm asking for that to actually be known to the public, exactly what's going to be going on. I know the Parks and Rec Department is working hard on trying to do certain things, and I know they're trying to work with the school board on the issues with some of the buildings not being available. But I'm also asking from what is the town actually going to be trying to actually help out with altogether, whether or not it's neighboring towns that we actually can work with, or anybody else that we can work with, whether or not it's Rutgers or anybody else that locally we might be able to partner with to actually help out for this specific summer. Not really in the future, but this specific summer is really key for us, because we do have a outstanding circumstance that's going on. The second point that I actually want to make out is that there's a bill that passed. I brought up at the school board budget before. I mean, school board, but I also wanted to make the town aware because it has to deal with the police department. There's a bill passed in last year, June 15, 2017, called Bill A114. All right, it actually has to deal with how we actually communicate with the kids about law enforcement. All right, I know we're going to be signing on to actually have some more law enforcement or retired people actually in the schools, but there's supposed to be an education premium that the state is supposed to be actually backing on the back end that actually teach about how law enforcement is supposed to interact with how kids are supposed to be interacting with the schools. I mean, the kids in the community as a whole. If you're not aware of it, again, I would actually ask you to read up on it because the simple fact is it says that you're supposed to work as a community together, and there's supposed to be an assessment council that's actually supposed to be there, and I don't hear anybody talking about that. So I'm just trying to bring it to light because, again, it's a statewide thing, and I know that I talked to individually with Joe Danielson about it before. So just trying to make sure that we're aware of it and we're trying to do something else that actually to communicate in this specific area. So that is all I want to talk about at this time frame. Oh, wait, there's one other thing for the township manager. I can get another request to ask, but is there specific pilots that have been passed over the last 5 years in this specific town at all? Because I don't know about whether or not they have or not.
Are you talking about a pilot, like a payment in lieu of taxes
Yes.
pilot? No,
Yes.
there have been none in the last 5 years.
None in this town. Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Richa Kaur, and I'm the Community Development Director at the Sikh Coalition. I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you all for passing the Vaisakhi Proclamation on behalf of the Sikh community here in Franklin Township and nationwide. We just want to really thank you for taking this initiative and for elevating the profile of the Sikh American community. As you heard today, Vaisakhi is the celebration of the founding of the Khalsa, which is the community of initiated Sikhs, and it also marks when Sikhs were given their distinct external identity. Sikhs have been part of the United States for over 100 years, and there are thousands and thousands of us who live here in New Jersey. We believe in seva, which is selfless service and equality, and we really endeavor to bring those values in our everyday interaction with our neighbors and community members. Initiatives such as this are particularly important in light of Sikhs being targets of hate and discrimination, especially post 9/11. We thank you all once again for celebrating such an important day for the Sikh American community. Please know that the local Sikh community and organizations such as the Sikh Coalition are here as resources, and we hope that you will count on us as partners. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you for being part of our community.
Hello, everyone. Bernadette Marr, 4 Norris Road, Somerset, New Jersey. I just want to reiterate how important it is for everyone to come out and comment and get information to FERC about our opposition to this project. The compressor station, Williams Transco Compressor Station 206, and the NESE, which is the Northeast Supply Enhancement Project. I'd like to thank, in addition to our town council, our county freeholders, Bonnie Watson Coleman, Joe Danielson, Senator Bob Smith, all have come out in opposition to this project. So it's very important. Now we're at a critical point where we really need support from the public and our elected officials to stop this project. We are going to have 2 meetings here in Franklin. The first one on April 18th, Wednesday, at the middle school, 415 Francis Street. This is going to be an opportunity. It's an action session where people can come in. We're going to have computers there. You can become an intervener. You can make your comments. So if anyone has had trouble becoming an intervener, there will be people there to walk you through it. And then in addition, we'll have all different kinds of comments, and you can choose some and you can comment right then and there. The session is from 5:30 to 8:30, and you don't have to be there for 3 hours. It's approximately a half hour. There will be a brief overview, and then you can get right to making your comments and signing up. So we urge everyone who has not yet signed up to be an intervener or who has not yet commented to do so. So again, that's Wednesday, April 18th at Franklin Middle School. The next meeting that is very important are the FERC's public comment meeting, and that's going to be held here at the Community Senior Center on May 2nd, anytime between 5 and 9. Now is the time for us to make our opposition known to FERC. So please, everyone come out and do whatever you can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and unfortunately, I won't be able to be there April 18th, but I will be there on the 2nd. Anyone else wishing to speak? Second is from 5 to 9.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Mayor, seeing no one else coming forward, a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded, seeing no discussion, all in favor of closing public discussion, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried, public discussion is closed. It is now time for council comments, and we will start with the pristine and very tall Councilman Carl Ray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be kind of short. All the meetings we had that I was a member of.
Well done.
Thank you. All the meetings that I had for the council were either closed because of rain, hail, snow, sleet, a lot of combinations. So that stopped our meetings there, so I have no report for the meetings. I believe next week we might come up with a couple more that we will have to get into because things of that type of nature were supposed to be discussed the last 2 or 3 weeks, but I think they're coming up maybe. I'm looking at the township manager, and he's giving me the head.
We did have a land use meeting.
A land use
that
meeting.
Councilman Chase, I'm sure, will report on. And the
That's the
next
one.
meeting that I'm aware of will be Public Works,
Right.
2 weeks from today.
2 from today, see?
Yep.
Beautiful. I'm loving you already. And while I do have the manager down that end, I want to thank the manager for the cleanup in the Fourth Ward because I know there was some issue somewhere around there. There were still little areas that lagged behind, but all in all, this was definitely a better cleanup from before, so I thank the township manager and getting the crews out to make sure everything was done. I guess the mayor or the township manager, probably the township manager, about the trees.
I'll bring you all up to speed in my report on
There you
debris.
go. See, I knew the big guy had it. Other than that, I'm done.
Thank you, Councilman Wright. Councilman Chase.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did have a land use committee meeting on April 4th, although I was the only actual member of the committee there. The mayor was also present, but we had discussed quite a few things with the manager and the director of planning. The major item before the committee was the Fair Share Plan, Affordable Housing Spending Plan. Planning Board will adopt the plan at its meeting tomorrow night. The council is required only to endorse it, so that's scheduled for the next council meeting, April 24th. The only substantive action required of council extending the expiring affordability controls on various Society Hill townhouses we have already taken by resolution in March. I summarized this plan as describing what we have for the most part already done. We have, over the last 15 years, generated 817 affordable housing units built and occupied, mostly apartment units, largely in the RPM and Leawood developments along Route 27, but also in developments such as Avalon Bay on Easton Avenue and Summerfields on Schoolhouse Road. RPM and Leawood are continuing to build. 214 more units have site plan approval, of which 119 are currently under construction. A further 173 are provided for by present zoning, We also have 519 bonus credits for family rentals, i.e. Apartments that are not age restricted. Our spending plan describes aiding RPM with money from the Housing Trust Fund to subsidize affordability of their units and continuing to repair and renovate existing homes of low-income families. The Housing Trust Fund is maintained by charges on other building in the township. In other matters, we recommended accepting a relatively new but surplus portable classroom building from the Board of Education. This is a donation from the board. It'll cost $30,000 to transfer it to land behind the Senior Community Center and set it up with electricity but no water. We'll then use it for archive storage, and this will save money we have been spending to store archives off-site. We've been spending $5,000 a year to do that, so this will pay for itself in 6 years. We will direct Mr. Raynone to write an ordinance ruling out launching or landing drones on any municipally owned land parcels, except for government-owned or contracted drones. This is mainly aimed at protecting township open space. If in future we designate a drone park where they may be flown, we can amend the ordinance to accept this space. We propose to set up a linear park along JFK Boulevard, replacing the existing walkway, which is deteriorated, with porous pavement and adding park benches and exercise equipment. Designating this 40-foot wide strip, almost the entire length of JFK Boulevard, will provide the additional parkland required if we are to remove the Dunn House off Saddam Road from the Green Acres roster so that we may sell it to a private party who can better maintain it. A small property we purchased on Waldorf Street to be used for parking for the Little League fields has environmental contamination. We will have to hire a licensed site restoration professional to tell us how to do what we were planning to do anyway, pave it over for parking. We'll probably use one of the engineering firms already approved for use by the township. Possible acquisition of the green space behind the PNC Bank on Franklin Boulevard was discussed. A previous attempt to do this resulted in no response from bank headquarters in Pittsburgh. So I'm afraid we know better now. We considered several other minor matters, but as the conclusion in each case was that no township action was warranted, I won't bother explaining them. One other matter outside the scope of the Land Use Committee was mentioned by the manager. Bids were open for the relining of the Little Rocky Hill water main. The low bid was $5.58 million. We're having our consulting engineer, Mott McDonald, which wrote the specifications, check that the bid meets them. And when work starts, it's expected to take only days. And finally, I want to remind the public that we have our annual stream cleanup sponsored by the Environmental Commission and Stony Brook Millstone Watershed Association on the lower reaches of Mile Run, and the place to come is the parking lot of Pine Grove School. So if you come to the parade for the opening of the Little League season at 8:30 in the morning, Saturday, April 14th, that's this coming Saturday, then you can stay on for the cleanup of Mile Run. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Chase. Councilman Vassallo.
Yeah, so the parade that was originally scheduled last week, as Councilman Chase said, is happening this weekend. Please come out and support it. There's going to be a lot of activity down there. I'm planned to be at the parade, and then once those festivities are concluded, to join what hopefully will be several volunteers once again participating in these successful stream cleanups. So please come out, be part of it. They'll provide all of the, I think, gloves and bags and everything. Mainly just show up in some clothes that you can get dirty. So parade at 8:30. It's going to be a very busy area down there. Plan ahead. And 9:30, I guess they'll be meeting, and then shortly after, making sure everyone has the proper equipment going into the stream area to actually do the cleanup. So I was going to talk and ask some questions concerning what, in my opinion, is becoming a health and safety issue with the sticks and debris. But I will reserve my comments if I have any or other questions concerning that till after the manager gives us an update. But again, in my opinion, it is starting to become a health and safety issue. But I'll look forward to the manager's comments. Otherwise, congratulations to the cheerleaders. And tonight we acknowledged and spoke a little bit about a religion here in Franklin. You can learn a lot about people, a lot about history, and a lot about humanity by opening yourself up and learning about other people's religions. Or I say other people's, the world. We're all here together. There's probably hundreds, obviously, dozens here in Franklin. So when you get the chance, take the time, take it to the next step beyond what was a short but wonderful proclamation, talking about one of them here tonight. But take it to the next step and enjoy and embrace the diversity as far as religion in this town and around the world. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Francois.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So today I became an intervener. It was a big, cumbersome process, I want you to know. I took that document that you handed out last night at the JFK Club, and I had a meeting that was canceled for an hour today, and I sat at my desk, and it literally took me an hour to figure out how to do that. And I also sent some comments in as well. So I felt really proud of myself, and I'm also very, very proud that you all are taking the charge like you have been, and you're going to have that meeting on the 18th over at the Franklin Middle School, and have computers set up and have people there to help our community walk through this process, because it's very, very cumbersome. They're making it cumbersome so that we can't fight the way we need to be able to fight. So I really commend you ladies for doing that. Linda, Bernadette lives on my street. I know she's my neighbor. I'm getting old. So thank you so much for that. And now that I know how to do it, I'm going to run around helping other people, because I figured out a quick way to get it done. So thank you. And also, I can't be at that meeting because I'll be on vacation, but the one where you're going to have FERC there for comments on May 2nd from 5 to 9 over at the Senior Center, I'm going to try to get some people out for that as well. You're raising a lot of awareness, and like the mayor said from Montgomery before he left, it's really a shame that we have to sit here and fight for our lives, because basically that's what we're doing with this compressor system. I also wanted to mention that there is also Assemblyman Joe Danielson is having a job fair on the same day, 4/18th, over at the Imperia. They're going to have over 60 to 70 businesses, so people don't know about the job fair. And I believe from 12 to 3 over at Imperia, which happens to be on Easton Avenue, right by Cedar Grove Lane, they're going to have a career fair from 12 to 3, and then from 3 to 7, they're having a job fair, and they're going to be over 60 to 70 businesses there. So people who are looking for jobs, who would like to have some career training and attend some career workshops, please come out for that. And we want to thank Assemblyman Joe Danielson for that. I also would like to commend the Pop Warner. They're not midgets. They're, what did they say they were? Varsity cheer team, national champions. And when they said that they didn't have any room, Mr. Bob Ballacker, to practice, you know what I was thinking about? The youth center.
That would be a place for them to do it.
That would be a place for them to practice. So when we get that youth center, we'll have plenty of space, and for groups like that, they won't be coming in here begging for space. So I'd like to commend that group for that. And I also wanted to comment on the community safety meeting that was held on March 29th. Our Board of Education president is here. Our mayor was there, I was there, and I also like to commend our police department, our new police chief, Richard Grammer. I think he did a wonderful job presenting. I also think it was well attended. We got a lot of community concerns and inputs, and I think, you know, a lot of the questions were answered. I got a lot of feedback from that mayor, and I think, you know, as we move forward to the future, we need to continue to have those meetings when appropriate, when applicable. So just wanted to commend the Board of Education and the mayor and the town council for having that meeting, and I think it was a good thing that we did for the community. And I think that's all I have to say, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Onijaka.
Mayor, I was at the I was at the sewage authority meeting. The last one that we had was last week. In fact, I learned that they are moving into a new online system, which will enhance the payment and save time. And this new system will actually help our community. So I was very, very happy with the explanation how they gave me and how it's going to work well. So that's a good process they're following. Another thing, I'm happy with the religious diversity we have in Franklin, which helps everybody to have his faith and follow his religion. In fact, when you look at it, Franklin Township has a lot of churches with different religions and different churches, which gives everybody the opportunity to follow his faith and religion. We're very happy with that. That's what I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Onijaka. Councilman Will Gillettere.
Mr. Mayor, real brief, my committees will be meeting towards the end of the month and into early next month, so no updates there. As far as sewage authority, I do have answers to questions raised at last meeting. I'll defer that to when the ordinance comes up, or the resolution. As was mentioned, it's spring, so Little League and soccer is finally starting up. Hopefully they have good weather this weekend, and hopefully that means we're starting to have some warm weather and no more plows on the road and no more salt trucks. So hopeful thinking. And just my last point, as Councilwoman Francois mentioned, Mayor Kramer, Councilwoman Francois and I were at the School Safety Symposium, and it's okay. But thank you to the Board of Ed, the school administration, the police department for setting it up. It was a good way to interact with the community. It was definitely a good dialogue, and parents got a chance to speak, and also some students. And I'd like to commend the students for speaking out also, because it's their lives. It's their lives. So they're speaking up, and parents are speaking up. And I think there was a good. There were some points that stuck out that. Definitely, I think the school board and the administration are going to take back and take for further consideration. But this was a good opportunity for everybody to share. So thank you again, and thank you for taking the initiatives to make sure that the kids continue to have a safe place to learn. Other than that, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Deputy Mayor Chanel Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Unfortunately, Mr. Guy isn't here, but I believe we answered his question once before about agreements that we have. And the schools and the Board of Ed, along with the police department, have a MOU or MOA, Memorandum of Understanding. So it is public knowledge, so they can get a copy of the document. And he referenced A114, but when I looked it up, it had to do with the Civil Service Commission, so I'm not sure if he gave the correct number or not. Not sure what he's referencing or referring to. But if he's out there watching, if he could email us or email me and let me know, I'd definitely look into it.
Mr. Attorney, you,
I suspect that he was talking about A1144, which is the legislation from last session that was ultimately adopted that authorized the hiring of Class 3 special officers. And in fact, they're on that ordinance authorizing that is on the agenda tonight.
Thank you. But again, there is a memorandum of understanding, a MOU or MOA, that the schools and the school board has with the police department. So that's always been in place, and it has to be updated and renewed frequently. So again, that's a matter of public record. You can ask for it. The other thing is congratulations to the Pop Warner Midget Varsity cheer for their second championship. As a former head coach of Pop Warner cheerleading team, I am very, very proud that they're still going. I, too, didn't have a national championship, but we did have a state championship back 3, I believe. So I'm glad to see that the program is thriving and continue to do very well. On another note, I have an announcement that I would like the women veterans to be aware of. There's a Women Veterans Conference and Information Fair for Guard, Reserve, Active, Retired, and Student Dependents, Saturday, April 21st, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., free lunch provided. It would be held at the Corpus Christi School at 80 David Street, South River, New Jersey. I have asked the Township manager if this can be posted, and he said yes, it can. So look at our website to see for further information on how to RSVP for this event. I'm always an advocate and supporter of our fellow veterans, especially our women veterans. Unfortunately, I will be out of town that weekend, but I will be following up and keeping everyone posted as to what goes on. On another note, congratulations to the Sikh community, bringing awareness of what is going on with your faith and your religion. And as it has already been said, that we are a very diverse community, and to be able to celebrate everyone is a great place to be. And so we have a gym in Franklin Township that we can celebrate one another's accomplishments and celebrate one another in that same vein. Other than that, my committees have not met thus far due to the nor'easters, and the rest of my committees will be meeting this week. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
thank you, Deputy Mayor. So my two areas of comment have nothing to do with Franklin and everything to do with Franklin. The first is that I am joining our governor in his recognition of Unfair Pay Day. Today is the day, how to explain this, for the average woman to have made as much as the average man did in 2017. The average woman would have had to work through 2017 and then kept working until today. So an additional 3.5 months or 3 1/3 months in order to make up the pay difference. So this just acknowledges the difference in pays between men and women, and that's something we need to strive to end. And then the other thing is I'm going to turn this gavel into a neurologist's reflex hammer, put on my doctor hat, and talk about cell phones. So about 2 years ago, there was a study that showed in rats and not mice that high levels of cell phone radiation would cause tumors to grow on the nerves within our hearts. That was a single study, but when it started, I said, what the heck? I'll just move my phone from this pocket to this pocket. Well, in the last couple of weeks, the strength of that study has been enhanced by further study and a commission looking at that, and it seems to be true. Now, tumor research on animals is fraught with errors when it's applied to humans. As you can see, it happens in rats but not mice. That doesn't mean it'll happen in people, but it's a very small sacrifice to move your cell phone from this pocket to this pocket. So probably applies more to men than to women, more to men who wear jackets. but an easy thing to do, and I highly recommend it. That concludes my comments. On to the manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'll talk about debris. Interestingly enough, while you were all talking, a resident sent me an email, must be watching it live, about the debris pickup. And let me just give you some insight here onto how this process takes place. Up until this past weekend, most of the equipment that we have needed to continue to be equipped for snow removal and salting operations. The big dump trucks that we own are also the ones that we use for the majority of our salting operations, so they have salt spreaders. And it's not something where in 15 minutes you take a salt spreader out of the dump truck and in 15 minutes you put it back in. Basically, it takes a full crew a full day to put the snow equipment on, and then it takes another one a full day to take it off. So we've been running with basically much fewer dump trucks. You know, we have the grapplers with the big front end loaders to pick up the debris, but the dump trucks have been running back and forth from where they're picking up the debris to the public works yard for then that debris to be ground up in the big tub grinder. And when you don't have as many trucks in the fleet, obviously that process doesn't run as quickly. What we have been doing is running extra hours during the day, during the week. So instead of running 8-hour days, we've been running 10-hour days. It becomes counterproductive to go beyond 5 o'clock with rush hour traffic. So we'd stop the operation at 5 p.m. And now we're running on Saturdays as well. We've been able this week so far, now it's only Tuesday, with this last kind of snow scare this past weekend that didn't materialize, I had brought in an additional crew to either do one of two things: spread salt if it snowed, or remove spreaders if it didn't. They removed all the spreaders from the dump trucks, so keep your fingers crossed that that warm weather coming this weekend is to stay, because now we have them all stripped down back to dump trucks again. And that means now we're running 2 full crews with 2 full complements of vehicles to take the debris back and forth. That means we've increased our productivity with the additional trucks from about 50 truckloads a day running back and forth to about 100 truckloads. So we've just about doubled our cleanup effort per day, and we're going to continue to run those crews till 5 p.m. every day, and we're going to continue to run 2 crews on Saturdays. Now, there's a monumental amount of debris there. If this had been an ordinary winter, many of our residents would be paying landscapers to clean up their yard from when they have their normal spring cleanups, like I paid at my house. I mean, they were just here this past weekend at my house. Now, this is on the level in volume with Hurricane Sandy. All right. With Hurricane Sandy, I remind all of council who may not have remembered this, we did an emergency appropriation of $300,000 for additional trucks to transport this debris and contracted with a local landscape company to do this cleanup. This is the reason we did that then is because the debris was not only in people's backyards as an inconvenience, it was across roads throughout the town where it was a matter of emergency and necessity. I don't deem this an emergency, and I don't deem it a necessity. We are providing a service at great expense right now, and we're putting aside other springtime operations. So remember that when we talk about things like Little League starting and soccer starting and all those things starting, we have crews out picking up debris on the road that would ordinarily be getting parks ready for the springtime athletic activities and the like. So everything's a balancing act. I can't pull every single member of the Public Works Department to go out and pick up debris when there's a lot of other activities at this time of year. There's catch basins that need to be cleared. There's trails and the open space properties that have hazards that need to be removed. And all of those things are happening in conjunction with the debris pickup. So I would say right now the crews have been working in the area between Amel Road and Easton Avenue and JFK Boulevard and DeMont Lane. And on some of these streets, it's taking crews for 3 streets an entire day because of the volume. But I wouldn't constitute it as any sort of hazardous situation. It's sticks piled up along the side of the road. It doesn't constitute a health issue. It's sticks piled up alongside the road. All right, so the Public Works Department is doing a fantastic job, and they're working very hard to get it done, but everyone just needs to be patient, and we'll continue to work day in and day out until it's all gone. Okay, so that's that. There are just 2 quick events that I want to bring to everyone's attention. It would seem that the 18th is a popular day. On April 18th at 155 Pierce Street at the SCAP building, there will be another financial literacy workshop, this one for building good credit rating. So anyone who feels the need to brush up on their finances and their financial education, I encourage you to take advantage of that opportunity. On the let me just get this, scroll down here for a second, because this is a kind of an important one for us. On April 28th, which is a Saturday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the Franklin Township Community Senior Center right here in the municipal complex, there will be a community event called Care, Share, Aware. It's presented by the Franklin Township Parks and Recreation Department, celebrating all abilities during Autism Awareness Month. It is an open house. There will be a number of activities and organizations represented there from Somerset and the surrounding areas that provide services to people of all ages who have special needs. I would encourage anyone who has a close loved one with special needs to attend this event, so you can take advantage of all of the different services, both recreational and educational and otherwise, that are provided in our area. And I am not saying anything that is not in this. This is coordinated by Mary Ann Regan, who is an employee of our recreation department, and she is a parent of a child who is on the autism spectrum. So she has, and this is the woman who has gotten awards for us, if I will remind council, for therapeutic recreational activities. So that's an event that I encourage everyone who has a desire to learn about those things to come out for. And I think that's everything, because we already covered the storm, the stream cleanup. So that's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Councilman Vasanella had a question.
Yeah,
or comment?
just a couple quick comments. So,
Yes.
First of all, I want to acknowledge the work DPW is doing. I want to be clear that, I know on other occasions I've said it up here over the years, these people go out in weather that most of us don't want to leave the house, and they do things that most of us don't want to do. So I have nothing but praise and applaud the work they've been doing, especially with this stick and branch pickup. So I want to be clear on that. Secondly, I guess we'll have to be patient with some of the springtime usual maintenance, upgrades, preparation, etc. And we all got to be patient with that. But I respectfully disagree with our manager, because if somebody had the amount of sticks and piles of dead branches, trees, pieces of this, what's out there, hanging out, I believe at this point they'd be in violation of our own ordinances. Now, I'm not saying anybody's violating anything. What I'm saying is I do see it as a health hazard, because it's a breeding, an attraction for rodents. It's drying out. It's much more flammable. It's blocking, in some cases partially, mailboxes, sidewalks, walkways. Now spring is here. People are bicycling. People are going with strollers. I could see a million reasons, but several reasons why and I think others would be concerned that it is possibly, or I believe it is, but at least heading towards possible safety and health issues. So I respectfully disagree with the manager, and if you drove around and looked at ordinances and just, I'm going to say, good practices for fire and safety and walking and clearing walkways. Perhaps we're looking at different areas and different streets, but I do think it's an issue. So, and the manager's done a wonderful job in balancing what is a horrendous situation, probably the worst I've seen since Sandy in my 12 years up here. So I applaud his efforts also. I'm just wondering at this point if we need to bring in some additional outside contractors so that we don't put extraordinary pressure on DPW and get it to where the springtime endeavors they need to get to don't get postponed too long into the future, because obviously we've all been waiting for this spring more than most other years with the obvious bad weather or more than usual bad weather in March and April. So I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but is there, maybe we've reached a turning point because the manager has been on top of this, and I'm glad, but if we're not within the sight of like the next week wrapping this up, I'd like us to consider hiring out additional.
Mr. Manager, the councilman has the floor.
So then, is there any consideration if it, and if it can't be, it can't be. Believe me, from what's out there, I don't think it can be, but I'm asking you because you are on top of it. So I appreciate that honesty, but could we, is there considerations, any other council member have any interest in perhaps directing or asking the manager to look into outside contracting to get this past the hump here? Because in a couple of weeks, I mean, I don't know, but I ask for any feedback on this issue.
The manager had a response.
I don't think it's necessary. I told you that I don't believe that it constitutes a hazard. I respectfully disagree with the councilman, and I don't believe it's necessary. It's going to be where we have to have patience for Public Works to get it done. Not the entire Public Works Department is out there, and I anticipate that it will be done hopefully within, I'm going to say, the last week of April, the first week of May. But it's not anything that, I mean, people have wood piles throughout the town that is of the same material that sits for their fireplaces year-round. I don't think that sticks on the side of the street constitutes a health hazard. I don't. So I don't believe that there's a necessity to bring in an outside contractor.
Any other council have comment? Ms. Francois spoke first.
Yeah, I was just going to say, one of the areas that was hit really, really bad was JFK Boulevard and that whole walkway. And I noticed that they came in and they took that and cleaned it up, which is because that was a really, it looked like a war zone over there. So is there any way that they can prioritize some of the areas that are really hit bad?
Well, they are. They're in the area that's been hit the worst right now. That's where they are. And what they've done is because, and I'll tell you that, again, most may not recall, but no matter where you start and no matter where you finish, someone gets to be first and someone has to be last. And there was a great deal of criticism after Sandy, and I dealt with that based on why did that neighborhood get done first and my neighborhood get done last. There is some randomness to this method that we're using now, so that there is no favoritism, because all the neighborhoods could cry foul and say that theirs is worse than others. I mean, my daily commute takes me through, I guess, probably what you would consider 4 or 5 different neighborhoods of the township, and there are varying levels of severity. They haven't been cleaned yet, and I could say that some right here behind the municipal complex are probably among the worst in the town. Take a ride down Wilson Road, and I'm sure the Wilson Road residents would agree. I don't know that there's any way that you can really gauge which one is worse than others at this point. Some streets have nothing out. Other streets, every house has it out. And to tell you the truth, it's growing. And what I see, unfortunately, is residents who have now contracted with tree contractors to do not just cleanup, but now taking advantage of an opportunity and having trees removed and trees trimmed that are live and not damaged and dead, and putting those out at the end of the street too.
Excuse me. We have a long meeting. If we can, so if other people have some brief comments.
I just wanted to say that I support the manager's position. Rodents go where there's food, not where there are branches which they're not going to be able to eat.
And Mr. Wright, it looked like you were,
You're right, this is a long meeting, so I'll just throw this right quick. To the Township Manager and the Land Use Committee, Stone Place off of Fuller Street between Route 27 and Fuller Street. I'll just throw it out. I was interested in getting that street vacated, half paved, half grass. What can we do about that? I'll throw it to the Township Manager and we'll go from there.
so perhaps that can be covered in land use.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it because you weren't there, so I saved it for the next land use meeting. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I think we are moving on, if I can find my place. Council discussion, approval of the minutes. I present the following minutes for approval for
No,
town.
you have the council discussion item changing
Yes,
the June meeting
thank
date.
you
Yes,
for-
very important.
Thank you for leading me astray, Mr. Attorney.
You're welcome as always, Brian.
So next item is the council discussion items to amend the 2018 Township Council meeting schedule. June 12th, we have a council meeting. By law, that is the date that there is reorganization of our political parties, both Democrat and Republican, at the county level. So on June 12th, I think I said June 8th, but it's on June 12th. We have a council meeting, which is a conflict, so we need to move that council meeting. I sent everyone an email to be prepared, to be ready to move that. I suggest just moving it to the next day, June 13th. Someone else said June 14th. Do we have comments on that, or consensus? June 12th is a Tuesday, June 13th is a Wednesday, and June 14th is a Thursday.
So Wednesday would be available?
The clerk has said it will be available if we so desire.
And the manager says that too.
Yes. So, do we have comment, I guess, do it right, Robert's rules, do we have a motion for
Wednesday.
either day?
Wednesday, I'll motion for,
So a motion for Wednesday, do we have a second? Second. Moved and seconded, comments?
I
Yes.
personally would prefer the Thursday because would have Kingston Village Advisory Committee on the Wednesday, and I'm going to be missing that tomorrow night for a special planning board meeting.
Does anyone else have comment?
I'll go along with Dr. Chase on that one.
So, Councilman Vasanella, would you want to amend your motion to be Thursday, the 14th?
no.
No.
What's this one?
So any other comments?
I mean, there's a lot of meetings throughout the week.
Okay. All right, well, so we have a motion for Wednesday, the 13th, and the 2nd. Are there any other comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase,
No.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
No.
Councilman Onichaka,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Believe it passes. So the meeting will be on the 13th. We also have the Board of Health meeting, Board of Health meeting. No, it's the Board of Health meeting. Thank you once again, Mr. Attorney. Thank you for your legal advice. That has to be moved, not only because we've moved our meeting, but because the head of the Department of Health cannot attend that day. Did he specify when he is available?
Either the July or August meeting.
Do we have a motion for either the July or August meeting for the Board of Health meeting? Anyone?
July?
July. We have a motion for July. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Can I do that by acclamation, Madam Clerk? Thank you. Oh, we have a legal opinion.
I'm trying. More of averages, I got to at some point.
Okay, now we are on to the approval of the minutes. I present the following minutes for approval by the Township Council. So work session, regular meetings at 7 o'clock on January 9th, 23rd, and March 7th, and an executive session on January 23rd. Do I have a motion for these minutes?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded.
Ted has his hand up.
Oh, Mr. Chase for discussion on it.
Well, I just have a couple of minor corrections. Actually, I had some typos which I gave to the clerk, but on the March 27th minutes in Councilwoman Francois' remarks, it's transcribed as high school president. I think that means high school principal.
Yes.
And in both her remarks and those of Deputy Mayor Robinson, it's written as March of Life. I think that was March for Life.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's all.
Any other comments, changes? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes, with amendments.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
Yes, with the suggested amendments.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Thank you, Councilman Wright. Approval of the minutes, warrants in the amount of $8,361,950.55 on April 10th, 2018 are presented to Township Council for payment. Do we have a motion?
Moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion, question on the warrants? I see none. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Okay, now for one of the most important votes of the year, and that is on the budget. Resolution, the first is Resolution 18-117, authorized to read CY 2018 budget by title only. Is considered and presented to the Township Council. Do we have a motion to do that?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll add the discussion that if we vote no, it's 66 pages that the clerk will have to read, because I won't read it. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
So the next item is we have a public hearing on the budget, on the CY calendar year 2018 municipal budget. Do we have a motion to open for public hearing?
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on opening for public hearing? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Anyone wishing to speak on the budget may come to the mic.
Seeing no one coming forward, Mayor, I motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
So move.
Moved and seconded.
Seconded.
All in favor of closing public discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Public discussion is closed. Resolution 18-118, adoption of the calendar year 2018 municipal budget, is hereby presented to the Township Council for consideration. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
And a second.
Second.
Deputy Mayor Robinson seconded. Any discussion on the budget? Any comments? Hearing no comments, discussion on the budget. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
So this is when I often do my State of the Township, but because of the length of this meeting and the great number of ordinances, I shall delay that to a future meeting. We are now on to item number 13, public adoption and public hearings and adoption of ordinances on second reading. We'll start with the first one, ordinance number 442418, authorizing the purchase of the development easement between Gordon Gund and the Township of Franklin in connection with property located at Block 19, Lot 20.01, which is 31.62 acres at 1165 Canal Road. A public hearing has been noticed and is required. Do I have a motion for public hearing?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. We are open for public discussion.
Mr. Mayor, seeing no one come forward, I make a motion to close public discussion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of closing public discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Just so the public knows, the only members of the public that are present are members of the press and the president of the Board of Education. Do we have a motion on the item?
So
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the item? Mr. Chase, do you want to explain in this, or?
Well, this is a piece of property just south of Coppermine Road where it comes down to Canal Road. It has a wonderful view of the Sauerland Mountains, and it's basically open fields with, I think there's a barn and a silo down on Canal Road, and this will keep it as farming property and not have houses built on it. I think the greatest beneficiaries of this will be the people who live just uphill from it, who will continue to have the view. But it's part of our general policy of preserving farmland wherever we can. And Mr. Gund is also in discussions with the county for similar development easement on the more southerly portions of his over 200 acres of property.
If we could
there.
keep the discussion to this ordinance. Thank you. Any other discussion? Yes, I did. Any other discussion? So we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Onichaka,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
We are now on to ordinance 4225-18, an ordinance granting a franchise to United Telephone Company of New Jersey Incorporated on behalf of itself and its operating affiliate CenturyLink to operate and maintain a telecommunications system in the Township of Franklin, Somerset County, New Jersey. The public hearing has been noticed as required. Do you have a motion to open to public discussion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded, and seeing no discussion, all in favor of opening for public discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. We are now open for the public.
Mayor, seeing no one from the public come forward, a motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and seeing no discussion, all in favor of closing public discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Public discussion is closed. Do we have a motion on the item?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the item?
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
could I just ask the township manager to explain that to me, please? I read it before, but
Maybe I can.
It's
This is
the
just a-
telephone system in Griggstown. They have a separate phone company in Greggstown that's from Hillsborough. It used to be called Hillsborough Montgomery Telephone, and they need to have a franchise agreement for their phone lines in Franklin Township. That's what it's for.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Ordinance 4226-18, an ordinance of the Township of Franklin, Somerset County, State of New Jersey, granting a sewer force main easement from the Township of Franklin to Brian Herdman and Jennifer M. Lenahan for the purpose of construction, maintaining, and operating a sanitary sewer force main to be installed on Block 259, parts of Lot 21, also known as 37 Radio Court, on the tax maps of the Franklin Township, County of Somerset, New Jersey. Public hearing is in order. Do we have a motion to open for public discussion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. We are now open for public discussion on the sewer at
Ma-
Radio Court.
Mayor, seeing no one come forward, I motion to close the public portion of the hearing on this ordinance.
Moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Public discussion is closed. Do we have a motion on the item?
Motion.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the item?
So, Mr. Mayor, I will keep it real brief. I was asked to follow up on this just for some clarification. So, Mr. Manager, I'd like to thank you. You did an excellent job at the last meeting explaining it, because your explanation was almost identical to what I got out of the Sewage Authority. Essentially, this is, we're approving for what's the equivalent of a long connection from the resident's house to the existing sewage, or the Franklin Township Sewage Authority's area of operations. It's the equivalent of if you had on your property, or on most properties, you have a distance that you're responsible for. Unfortunately, theirs is going to be about 150 feet under the street of Radio Court. There are similar cases throughout the town that this has been done before. And also, just for reassurance, I did talk to the authority. Our operations team does go out and inspect it at the completion of the connection, so that if there's any problems before it's connected in, that it's found and it can be corrected. So hopefully that answers all the questions that everybody had. That's directly from our operations team also.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
We are now on to ordinances of first reading, and there are a lot. So hang on to your hats. Ordinance 4227-18, an ordinance to amend the code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, and State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 50, Police Department, Article 1, General Provisions, Section 50-21, Special Law Enforcement Officers, Class 3, Class 2, and Class 1. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption, first reading, posting, and publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 24th, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion on the item?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. In short, this is an item, it was, I think, what Mr. Guy was talking about, trying to bring to our attention. We already had it on the agenda. This is allowing retired officers to be hired as uniformed officers to carry guns in school to protect our children. This is not, this ordinance is allowing the chief of police to do this. This is not set that we will hire. that we won't hire, but we are putting this tool in the police chief's tool belt so that he can do it. There have been discussions about doing this with the Board of Education. Any other comments? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri.
Yes.
Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
So it is introduced. Ordinance 4228-18, an ordinance amending the Code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 62, Salaries, Section 62-5, Annual Compensation for Full-Time White-Collar Municipal Employees. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 24th, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion?
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? This is basically a contract, council agreeing to a contract that has been negotiated. And the council had discussed it at, in a prior executive session. Any other discussion or questions? Being none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri.
Yes.
Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Ordinance 4229-18, an ordinance canceling balances of certain bonds and capital ordinances of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, in the amount of $2,829,687.41 of the General Capital Fund and $512,666.69 of the water utility. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in ordinance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 24th, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. So this item is, we have bonded in the past and not used the money. Sometimes we haven't actually even borrowed the money. Some of this is because we did it more cheaply. Some of it is because we, there were soft costs that we didn't need to spend, and sometimes we didn't do the thing we bonded for. This, you heard some big numbers there. We are not actually getting that much money back because we are not, some of it we didn't bond for. So for the general fund or the fund balance, $392,000 in actual money will go back into the fund balance. About $2 million will be bookkeeping. Open space gets about $415,000 in the trust that has already been in the trust. It is just that it is now encumbered, so it's free to be used to buy more open space, et cetera. And then in water, we're getting about $54,000 in cash and $458,000 on paper. This will improve our debt ratio and bonding capacity, so that, and will increase, hopefully, help fortify our bond rating. Basically, we're cleaning up a lot of paperwork, in short. We have any other discussion on this item? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri.
Yes.
Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
And by the way, since that was a bond ordinance, we needed 5 to introduce, and we will need 6 to pass it at the next meeting. The next item is a capital ordinance appropriating $2,306,418 from the capital fund to pay for various capital acquisitions and improvements for the Township of Franklin and the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 24th, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion on the item?
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. For discussion, basically, we just passed the budget. In the budget, there were things we wanted to do. They cost money, and we are now using that money to improve the town. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri.
Yes.
Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Ordinance 4231-18, capital ordinance appropriating $961,500 from the capital fund to pay for various capital acquisitions and improvements for the water utility of the Township of Franklin and the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 24th, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion? And a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded for discussion. This is the same thing, but for the water utility. Any other discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri.
Yes.
Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Okay, so the next item is 4232-18, a bond ordinance providing for various 2018 capital improvements and equipment acquisitions for the Township of Franklin and the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1,582,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,502,900 bonds for notes of the township to finance part of costs thereof. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, and publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on April 24th, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. So this is a bond ordinance to bond for things we have just passed in the budget. Being a bond ordinance, we need 5 to introduce and 6 to pass. Any other discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri.
Yes.
Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella. Councilman Wright.
Ordinance 4233-18, a bond ordinance providing for annual water main replacement, cleaning and lining for the water utility of the Township of Franklin and the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1,020,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,020,000 in bonds or notes of the water utility of the Township to finance the costs thereof. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, and publication in accordance with law for a public hearing on Tuesday, April 24th, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion?
Motioned.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This is the same thing, but for the water utility. Any other discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase.
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri.
Yes.
Mayor Kramer.
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
2 more to go. An ordinance 4234-18, capital ordinance appropriating I should be reading out of here, $1,506,000 from the Open Space Trust Fund to pay for various capital acquisitions and improvements for the Township of Franklin and the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, and publication in accordance with law and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 24th, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion?
Motion. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This is the same thing, but now for the open space, and this is cash, capital. Any other discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
And now for something completely different. Ordinance 4235-18, an ordinance to amend the code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, and State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 226, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 226-34, Mid-Block Crosswalks. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, April 24th, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Moved and seconded. So this is on Metler Road. There is a cross walk between the Colonial Park and the Rose Garden area of Colonial Park. That is a mid-block crosswalk. Those require ordinances. That's actually been there a long time, but it turns out we never passed the ordinance for it. This came up because the Parks Commission or the county wanted to put up some blinking lights there and change the crosswalk. They wanted us to pay for it, but the thriftiness and infallible memory of our township manager going back umpteen years recall that all of the similar things that have been done in the past have been paid for by the county, and he shamed them into paying for it, thus saving the taxpayers in Franklin some money. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion on this item? Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Chaka?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
We are now on to the consent agenda. Resolutions A through W as listed on the consent agenda portion of the meeting are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do I have a motion?
So-
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Anyone want to pull an item? Anyone want to play stump the chump with the manager?
Mayor?
So,
Mayor.
Mr. Vasanella, I
Yeah.
heard first.
Yeah, I wasn't looking to do either. I just wanted to make a comment on K and S after other council people have spoken and before it's passed or voted on.
Now would be the appropriate time.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted, if someone needed to pull something, but we'll get to that. Resolution K 18-129, Woodland Road area resurfacing. Basically, every year, we approve roads to be redone, council votes, and we do as many as we can, usually somewhere between about half and two-thirds, if my memory's right, and some get kicked forward to the following year. I specifically wanted to mention this because these are a handful of roads believe all in the 4th and 5th ward here that we've been pushing hard, Councilman Wright and I, to get paved, but understandably, some get bumped. So those roads that, upon passage of this resolution, will be paved very, very, very soon is Barker, Carmen, Hamlet, Lewis, Petty, Woodlawn, Montrose, Sherman Circle, and Viking. There are a lot of small streets that don't get paved very often. I know people have been waiting, so I'm glad to see that on here. And the only other thing I wanted to mention is Resolution S. You don't have to have a dog to partake. Sunday, May 6th, Second Chance for Animals Dog Walk and Family Fun Day. Again, you don't have to have a dog to go out there. Dogs can be a fun, positive thing, even if you don't have one. but I wanted to mention that event because it supports Second Chance for Animals, which is a necessary tool for our township as far as our care and love of and taking care of our animals and the animal shelter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vasanella, and I will be at that event. Mr. Chase.
I just wanted to call council's attention and the public's attention particularly to item U, and this is for upgrading the traffic light at Laurel Avenue and Route 27 in the center of Kingston in a way, I won't go into the explanation of how, that will improve the traffic flow out of Laurel Avenue and on the South Brunswick side, Heathcote Avenue. It should in fact say South Brunswick Township Fire District 3 and Franklin Fire District 4. We actually have a joint fire district there with commissioners from each township, and this resolution had to be passed sequentially through all the different bodies mentioned there, although everybody was very much in agreement, and I'm very glad to see it coming to pass. Each of the townships will put up, I think, about $10,000, paying for a quarter of the cost of this upgraded traffic light.
Thank you, Councilman Chase. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor.
So he did a really good job at that one, Councilman, so now I don't have to because I know you wanted me to tell about that one.
I definitely want to bring that one up, but I'm glad Councilman Chase brought it up because he definitely did an explanation here. So, on the segment, Ask the Manager, I only have one question since Dr. Chase took that one. Resolution 18104, Award Contract Hazardous Tree Survey, MCFO 9002-18, CME Associates, amount not to exceed $32,000.
So
I'll answer
not to
that one.
confuse the clerk, but it's actually 18-140, not 104.
So
And
I can answer that one. Would you?
go for it, Mr. Mayor, it's all you.
So I'm trying to make Stump the Chump go away. But, so I'll be the chump this time. So this is the emerald ash tree borer. And it is an invasive species that is moving down the coast, and it's going to be hitting us. It is predicted to hit us in a few years. We have thousands and thousands of ash trees in the town. They can grow to quite the height, and when the ash borer hits them, it will kill the tree, and about 4 years later, it's going to collapse. And they're going to, over the course of a year or 2 or 3, they're all going to come down. And we need to do a survey to find out where they will come down dangerously on our properties, including our parks or trails, and most importantly, next to the roads. And we may have to be required by ourselves, not necessarily state law or anything, but we may need to create an ash tree trust fund and start saving up for it, because it could be, I think at minimum it's going to be $1,000 to bring down a tree, for us to bring it down in a controlled way, so this could be a lot of money. And I've been asking for this for a couple of years, and I'm glad we're doing it.
Thank the
Mr.
Shade
Mayor.
Tree Commission.
And that concludes Ask the Mayor.
That's the mayor. Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you.
I would ask,
Yes.
if I could, to pull Resolution 18-141 to be voted on separately.
That's item W, I believe.
That's item W, yes.
Okay. So, any other discussions, things to be pulled? Chump the chump. Seeing none. So, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll on A through U. B.
B.
B. I know my alphabet.
Councilman
Could you help
Chase,
me there?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
And now item W. Oh, we need a motion and a second. I'm sorry. Item W.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Abstain.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
And item W, I assume Councilman Galtieri abstained because it's about the sewage authority and he is on the sewage authority. Item number 16 is a resolution to be voted on separately, authorize issuance of a person-to-person plenary retail consumption license transfer, license number 1808-33-016-08, the Palace at Somerset Park Holding Company, effective April 11, 2018, is hereby presented to the Township Council for consideration. So this is a person-to-person liquor license acknowledged. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion on it? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
So, old business, any boards, commissions, committees, vacancy nominations? Oh.
Yes.
Dr. Chase.
I'd like to nominate Glenn McParland of 10 Laurel Avenue for the Historic Commission. I think this would be for Class C membership, the one terminating December 31, 2020. We have actually several positions open, so we have to specify which one. So we might as well do the earlier one. I think that the clerk has sent out his citizen leadership form to members of the council, and he's someone who first appeared before the Historic Commission relevant to the renovation of that house, and now wishes to join, and he sat through the last meeting of the Historic Commission and still wants to join, and the commission is happy to have him. I move his appointment.
Is that a motion? I'll second.
That was a nomination, and you may second it. It doesn't require a nomination, a second. Any other nominations for the same position? So I'm closing nominations. We can do this by acclamation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Congratulations. Any nominations for any other committees? Hearing none, there is no executive session.
So did that motion to close nominations, is that also actually a motion to approve his appointment?
So I summarily closed nominations. I did not bother to go through the formality of closing, and that vote was for the person.
Okay, fine, I just want to make sure it's legal.
If someone wishes to.
Pretty legal.
It's
Research it a little bit more. It's pretty good government.
It's our official grade from our attorney. We're doing a pretty good legal job.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Yes.
Yes, and we have a motion and a please.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, don't dare speak. We are adjourned. Be well, Franklin.